In that moment, he must slip his arm inside their guard and finally break out by understanding the clinch's gaps and pushing from inside. Our MC is impressed with the coach. He didn't expect him to be so good and cool. He admits he thought the guy would be terrible, but he ended up completely impressed by the specialist. The specialist says since Weizong has a solid Syrium base, he'll master the clinch in no time. Our hero commits to doing his best, and the coach calls it a day. At that moment, Coach Taeyong appears, and the Muay Thai specialist says his part is done. A ridiculously buff coach appears, wearing extremely tight clothes and a sweet expression. Weizong is startled and asks what he's doing there. It's explained Taeyong will train his physical strength. The MC is not happy, saying they could have picked anyone else. Taeyong overhears Weizong Li and puts a hand on his shoulder to confront him. He asks Weizong what kind of person he is, since he looks like a gorilla. Weizong says the coach is busy and he should have visited, adding sarcastically that he's one of his favorite people. The coach is thrilled that Weizong sees him positively and asks to be carried to the training area. Our MC refuses to carry Taeyong, who weighs 100 kilos, but the coach keeps arguing. In the end, our hero is forced to carry Coach Taeyong on his back. His Muay Thai coach just says, "No pain, no gain." Taeyong tells the Muay Thai specialist he should join the circuit too, since he's in good shape. The specialist immediately tries to run for it, saying he'll train with Hobian, who's busy with Eugene. He keeps making excuses to dodge the circuit, but it's no use, and the coach chases him, forcing him to flee. Then, both Weizong and Taeyong dogpile the Muay Thai coach to catch him. He screams as the two drag him to the physical training circuit. Some time passes, and we see Weizong Li training the clinch with the Muay Thai coach. His coach throws a strike, and our hero defends with ease and precision. Next, the specialist crouches and unleashes a flurry of attacks, which Wei dodges and blocks. The coach throws more blows, but our protagonist goes on the offensive. He finds an opening, grabbing his coach's neck, surprising the specialist. Using the clinch, he throws a knee at the coach, who manages to dodge, but our hero persists, pulling the coach's head down with his hooked hand. He finally lands a knee strike on the man's left side, making him wince. Still clinched, the Muay Thai coach puts a hand on our protagonist's chest. He then shoves him away, breaking free. Both fighters step back, and the coach says, "That's enough for now." He says the kid learns fast, and that it was a great session where he performed very well. He tells Weizong to rest up for his next session with Coach Tien Yang. Our hero is stoked that Zhang Huan is his Muay Thai instructor. He couldn't have learned all this alone, and he notices his strength and endurance have improved drastically. He'd always heard that strength and endurance couldn't coexist, but he's improved in both. It's like a real-life level-up Manhwa. He's grown so much, which he expected from Tae's functional training. He's glad Gorilla Tae's hellish training is actually paying off. Suddenly, he sees Eugene Min quietly sit down next to him and asks if she's okay, and Min threatens him, but he argues that she sat next to him first. Our MC knows Eugene has been cutting weight and reducing sodium, and cutting way back on the snacks she used to eat. She's eating nothing heavily seasoned, no fried chicken or pizza, and definitely no instant food. A few nuts and small pieces of chocolate are her only snacks. On top of that, she's drinking over 2 liters of water a day for the fight. For her size, drinking that much water is super stressful. The diet and training are wearing her down, and she's constantly hitting the bathroom. At that moment, Weizong smiles at Minyu, telling her there are only 10 days left, and to hang in there. Eugene rejects his sympathy, and he says he's just her age, but she tells him to butt out. Our hero sarcastically calls her a ray of sunshine. Eugene Min's coach tells her that her break is over, and that she needs to drink some water. Sadly, the girl gets up to chug a bottle of water, and the MC feels bad for her. He's sure she's feeling absolutely miserable. Then the coach calls out to him, too. His coach also says his break's over, and he knows he isn't doing much better. Tien Yang grins, saying it's torture time, then corrects himself, saying, training. As Tae turns, the MC notices his shirt, says, "You're going to be annihilated." Tae asks what the holdup is, and we see our MC in total shock, reading the phrase on the shirt. He jokes that he should write a will, just in case he really gets annihilated. During the time after Y's fight, the team won 5 matches, 3 of which were by decision. Eugene had a tough fight, winning by submission in the 3rd round and becoming a division star. Meanwhile, Zhang Huan lost again after gassing out and taking a knockout shot to the chin. Taye got mad at Zhang, who just laughed, taking it as a compliment, and nearly losing his teeth. Finally, official weigh-in day arrives at the X1 headquarters in SU. Our MC complains about the draining diet, but the coach tells him to stop whining. He notices the weigh-in is simpler this time, with only 2 photographers, which he finds way more relaxing. Then, the next fighter to weigh in is announced, Weizong Li. As he strips down, Seong Han is there to hold his clothes as he gets on the scale. Our hero Weizong makes weight again, hitting exactly 70 kilograms. They call the next fighter, Hoju. Our hero, though, has no idea where Hoju is, as he hasn't seen him yet. Just then, the blue-haired kid appears, saying he was in the bathroom. He barely recognizes him, he looks so thin and suspects he was puking from a bad weight cut. After a quick exchange, Hoju also makes weight at exactly 70 kilograms. With that, the weigh-in is over. In 10 minutes, a presentation will explain the match between them. Kwais Li immediately asks his coach for water, but the coach says he forgot it in the car, and both Huai and Tag start complaining. Hozak Ju politely cuts in, handing our hero a water bottle. He apologizes for the mix-up, blaming work for his rough weight cut. When Huizong asks, he explains he's a movie extra that requires muscle. Huizong understands Hozak is just trying to survive, but Hozak calls it a poor excuse. He quickly leaves, saying he won't befriend the man he has to fight tomorrow. Huizong finds him politer than the last fighter, but Taesung warns him not to lower his guard. Hozak could annihilate him, but our MC's mindset is to crush the enemy. At last, match day arrives, and we see our protagonist eating a vegetable with a look of pure agony. He's super irritated and would kill for some fried chicken right now. Yujimin teases his meal, saying she's still on duty helping Jung with his upcoming match. Huizong thinks this fight must be serious, and Min says Taesung will cut Jung if he doesn't fight. The girl eats the awful vegetable, claiming it's not even that bad. So, Huizong tells Min to eat the whole thing. Despite the food, our MC dreams of a post-fight feast. Yuji-min leaves some candy, telling him to eat it 1 hour before the match. It will raise his blood flow and endurance levels for the fight. Our MC asks about the sudden kindness, and Min claims they're just leftovers. Huizong Li knows she feels bad for her terrible attitude earlier. Annoyed, Yuji-min yells they were just leftover sweets she found. He asks for honesty, telling her to admit she brought them for him. She throws a vegetable at his face. Yuji-min walks off to help Jung-han, and Huizong says goodbye to her. But before she goes, our protagonist thanks her for the sweets. Yuji, flustered, turns away, saying he could have said that earlier. Finally, she tells him not to be an idiot and to make damn sure he wins the fight against Hozak. They bump fists, and Huizong Li says there's no way he'll lose. The Xone team watches the pre-fights, impressed by another knockout. Taesung asks what he's eating, and he says it's the candy Yuji-min gave him. As he eats, he complains it's the most bitter chocolate of his life. He then puts a towel over his face and starts visualizing the fight, confusing Taeyong. A teammate isn't sure if he's bluffing or just overconfident. Sang says he was similar before his first fight, and that this overconfidence is concerning. Sang wants him calm and fit to fight, but Taeyong gets angry catching him napping. Huizong claims he was just talking with friends, but Taeyong says he was dreaming. This gives Taeyong a bad feeling, and soon, the fight is announced. In the blue corner is our hero, and the crowd erupts, hyped for this level-up Manhwa star. They remember Huizong's stunning performance in his last fight, and expect the same this time. They comment on his great physical condition for this New Year's Eve fight. Xone has high hopes, and this is his chance to meet them. The coach tells our MC to pick his moment to strike from his domain, the outer range. Huizong Li understands. He takes in the advice and steps into the ring with overflowing confidence. Soon, Hozak Ju is announced in the red corner. They notice Hozak looks bigger and Huizong is smaller, a 6-kilogram difference. The commentators then announce Hozak's entrance. They take their positions in front of each other as the referee gives instructions. Huizong notes Hozak is taller, bigger, and looks ready to fight like a wild dog. The referee asks if they're ready. They agree, and the match begins as both rush in. Huizong throws several short jabs, and Hozak defends by closing his guard and moving. Our hero launches a body kick that Hozak blocks. At that moment, Hozak finds an opening in this level-up Manhwa and strikes the vulnerable area with a powerful punch. Huizong dodges to the side and lands a clean combination of blows on his opponent. Hozak just stares at him with a neutral, intimidating expression, and Hui realizes he's not even a bit tired. Sang-hoon shouts for our hero to throw more punches and maintain his distance. Suddenly, Hoju uses his momentum to throw a heavier punch. Even though it's blocked by our protagonist, the force still sends him flying back. Wasting no time, his opponent throws another punch, trying to smash his guard. Sang sees Hoju pressing aggressively, giving Hui zero room to breathe. However, Huizong Li blocks what he can't dodge, avoiding the most dangerous headshots. At that point, he keeps his distance, as Hoju prepares a powerful punch. Just as his opponent throws a mean uppercut, our hero slams a kick into his torso with full force. He sends Hoju flying backward with a Muay Thai kick. However, his opponent quickly regains his footing and uses that momentum to attack again. But a risky move from Huisong shocks Hoju, and his entire team is stunned. Sang thinks he's just being cocky. After all, Huisong Lee completely drops his arms and lowers his guard. Our MC relaxes his shoulders, drops his guard, and hops in place right in the middle of the ring. After lowering his guard, he starts warming up in front of Hoju like it's nothing. The commentators say he shouldn't do that in Hoju's range. His opponent wonders what he's doing. He stays focused, keeps his rhythm, and tries to hit. But before he can even throw a punch, he takes a quick, precise shot to the face. Hoju never saw the jab coming, and sees the quick follow-up from Hui, who's already throwing another punch. This time, he lands a full power cross right on Hoju's face. Then, he resets his stance, rotating his torso at high speed like he's prepping a kick. He fakes a low kick, then switches feet, and Hoju thinks he's about to throw a mid-kick. However, our MC plants his left foot to set a base, confusing Hoju, who now has no clue what to expect. Then, Huisong Lee does it again, confusing his opponent more, who closes his guard in fear, seeing him shift his feet one last time. Hoju braces for the kick, until our protagonist presses his back against the octagon cage. The commentators say Hoju fell into Hui's trap, and is now cornered. Without a single strike thrown, the guy is squirming in fear, and everyone finds it hilarious. After this embarrassing moment, Hoju gets angry and runs forward to throw a punch at Hui. As soon as he gets close, he's hit with an extremely powerful kick. That spinning back kick had enough impact to break Hoju's arm. Our hero keeps moving, switching stances quickly with his guard down. Then, he lands a high kick to his opponent's face, who fails to block, taking the full impact straight to the face. Hoju grits his teeth in pain. Our MC's recovery is like a page from a level-up manhwa, especially since he was the one being dominated before. Hoju, nearly crushed against the cage, tries to escape to the side from Hui's strikes. As Hoju tries to sidestep, our MC just crab walks and cuts off his escape. This infuriates his opponent, who winds up a punch to strike our hero. But before Hoju can hit him, the MC pops a quick jab in his face, stopping the attack. Sang notices his feints and punches are fast and unpredictable, showing he really did his homework. Huisong Lee throws more strikes that Hoju blocks, but he still ends up pressed against the cage. Hoju accepts Hui has found his rhythm and decides to wait for a big strike to counter. He sees his chance when his opponent jumps to land a heavy punch. He tries to break his rhythm to regain control and escape the cage. But our MC sees Hoju's punch coming, and ducks to avoid it. His opponent realizes Huisong anticipated this opening and prepared in advance. Huisong Lee then lands a powerful knee strike directly to Hoju's torso. He realizes he's not moving fast enough, and his jaw is exposed, so he remembers to lift his guard, only to take another knee to the stomach. Hoju is shocked by another unexpected body blow. Sang-hun celebrates every strike that Huisong Lee is landing. The commentators say the repeated headshots led to this state. Huisong stalks his target in the octagon, and still Hoju can't even move. Our protagonist takes small steps toward him, but his opponent is trembling on his feet. Hui stops in front of him, staring as his opponent stands unguarded, unable to even throw a punch. Our MC figures it's gotta be frustrating, since Hosok was all about stamina, but tells him not to pout, because now it's his turn to have some fun. With that, our hero gets fired up, making Hosok even more terrified. Immediately after, he eats a massive punch straight to the face. The commentators call him defenseless as he takes a brutal shot to the gut. He's basically a statue after those body blows, and shouldn't even be standing. Huisong Lee keeps wailing on him, but Hosok refuses to go down like this. Risking it all, he dives for his opponent's legs, trying to drag Huisong to the ground. Our protagonist just smiles, plants his feet like his mentor taught him, then spins, and shoves the opponent away, avoiding the clinch. Hosok Ju is completely lost as he turns, trying to regroup for an attack, but before he can react, our hero locks his hands behind Hosok's neck. Seong-hun is seriously impressed by Huisong Lee's technique. He realizes that Huisong is using the plum, a Muay Thai plum clinch, and has his opponent completely locked down. He grips him tight, and Hosok can't escape. Totally trapped, the target takes a devastating knee strike. The impact of Huisong Lee's knee is explosive, slamming right into Hosok's abdomen. After the hit, Hosok frantically tries to escape and get his guard up. Hosok's coach sees him eating multiple knees and screams at him to get out of there. Hosok throws punches, trying to make Huisong Lee release him. But our MC is dominating, tanking the hits like the hero of a level-up manhwa. Still gripping his neck in the clinch, he's unfazed by the punches and lands another knee. The strikes are shutting him down. Hosok Ju is completely defenseless. This is getting dangerous for Hosok. Even his legendary endurance has its limits. Now our MC cocks his striking leg back, winding up for another knee, and Hosok tries to block. Even with his hands up, the impact just smashes right through his guard. His left side takes a clean hit despite his attempted block. With nothing left, Hosok collapses to his knees, and our hero starts pounding him to finish it. Seong-hun yells for our MC to press down on his opponent's neck. Wai-sung Lee immediately obeys, pinning Hoseok's neck while raining down punches. Hosok's coach tells him to grab the guy and try for a submission. But as the blue-haired kid eats punch after punch, he can barely even move. Using his very last ounce of strength, he grabs the MC and tries to throw him, but Wee-sung refuses to go down. He grabs Hosok's shoulders and shoves back, then he snakes his arms around Hosok's neck for a choke to end this, once and for all. He locks in a rear naked choke with both arms. The commentator is stunned that the counter was a rear naked choke submission. He notes that Wai-sung has it sunk in deep, leaving Hosok in a terrible spot. Hosok-ju fights desperately to avoid tapping out to the chokehold. Our protagonist squeezes with all his might to finish the fight. Suddenly, Hosok-ju's eyes roll back as he goes completely limp. Immediately, the referee calls a stop and pries them apart. The moment they're separated, Hosok collapses to the mat, unconscious. It's announced, Wai-sung has won by submission. The commentators note that Hosok, who seemed like an iron fortress, was just dismantled. Everyone agrees Wai-sung Lee has proven himself as a hot newcomer in MMA. He wins again in the first round, just 4 minutes into the fight. After the victory is announced, our protagonist just screams with pure joy. His coach, Tae-young, is so ecstatic, he tells him to come get a hug. Another teammate calls Wai-sung amazing for learning that choke so recently. He also catches Song-hun's strange reaction at that moment. He realizes Wai-sung is hungry for more action, like a true level-up Manhwa hero. Even calm Song-hun gets fired up watching. It reminds him of the passion he felt when he first started in MMA. He says Wee-seung was awesome, that today is his big day, and he should enjoy it. The giant Tae-young says it's time to celebrate with his victory song, and Suya comically protests. Suddenly, the crew's at a bar, clinking beers in celebration. On a call with his mother, our MC says they're all celebrating his win non-stop. He catches a weird tone in her voice and asks if she's drinking. She says yes, because he won. Quizm tells her to take it easy, knowing she's a lightweight, and she tells him not to worry. Then, his mom starts apologizing over and over, and the MC asks why. She says instead of supporting his passion, she held him back, and he admits he was stubborn too. His mother felt like she'd sent her son to war for chump change. She regrets the hard times he faced and missing his childhood. Suddenly, she breaks down crying, saying she's been a terrible mother. Out of nowhere, the voice on the phone changes, and Hee-sung's father takes over to calm his mom, who got carried away. His dad says she had a bit too much, and tells Wiz to enjoy himself. He'll handle her. The MC asks him to cheer her up since she sounds down, and his dad says he will, then congratulates him on the fight. Wee-sung Lee thanks his father for the support, and hangs up to get back to the party. Our hero knows it's a long road before his mom stops worrying, but he's cool, knowing his team has his back. Someone finds a video of Ty carrying the MC around the ring, while he's singing into a mic. His friends watching the video joke, he's the guest of honor and should just sing instead of fight. They tease that the team was mortified, and Tu says he sings worse than a dying cat. Eugenia Min, who was stone-faced, cracks up and tries to hide it. This gets our MC fired up. He starts playfully cursing his friends out. January 20th hits at the official Elite SC gym, the day of the Central League. We see Tae-young choking someone out, calling him a lost cause. Furious, he says he's told him multiple times to slow down, as the guy tries to keep his cool. Another teammate says John Hun did a good job today, and he thanks him for the props. John Hun slumps down, tired and frustrated, when someone offers him a soda. The fighter thanks Wee-sung Lee, and they start talking. He apologizes for how it went down, even with his help. Our MC tries to cheer him up, saying at least he didn't lose. But he didn't win either. After a tough first round, he nearly had it with an uppercut in the second round. Coach Taeyong was yelling for him to take it slow and stay composed, but Zhang Huang got too hyped and just wailed on the opponent's tight guard. He eventually gassed out, leaving his jaw wide open. That's when both fighters clocked each other on the jaw simultaneously. In that instant, they both hit the deck, and the ref declared a technical draw. So even though he didn't lose, his pro debut was a dud. Zhang expected a lecture, but Hui figures he's already had an earful. Our MC knows Zhang's got talent. But this isn't some level-up manhwa where fear vanishes. His ring fright makes him freeze. He can only imagine the pressure his buddy is under. To pump him up, he says he'll definitely win the next one. But John's not buying it, and says something to our ring king. He says he's been thinking about quitting MMA for good. Right at that moment, someone interrupts, saying it's time to head out. John immediately changes the subject, acting all cheerful, but Hui tells him to just spit it out. Then he plays dumb, saying he forgot, and clams up. He tells them to hurry before Coach Ta gets pissed. Our King of the Ring walks behind John, keeping a sharp eye on him. He also notices, for some reason, his friend's back looks smaller today. The second they get to the gym, they get some good news. Un Chong is the first on their team to officially sign with SFC. Everyone goes nuts, celebrating that they finally have an SFC fighter on the squad. Our MC feels it's kinda unfair that Young bombed his debut while Yun Chong signed with SFC. Yukjun points out that even so, Jang is still celebrating, and Huai wonders how he's pulling it off. C tells everyone to settle down for another announcement. The fight is mid-June, and they're getting an assistant. Everyone's eyes lit up. Seong asked who was interested, and they all screamed yes. One guy plays the seniority card, saying he should get more points. Another argues attitude matters more, noting he's never been late in 6 years. Han asks the other guys, who didn't even know they could be assistants. The coach says it's obvious, since they're all on the team. They get hyped. But Sang says, it's only for pros. They're bummed, but Sean Han says it's an order from the top, so don't blame him. They ask who he'll choose. And C has a fair way to decide. He slaps the wall, declaring they'll settle it with a game of coast leg. He tells them to draw a line, pick a number, and he'll shuffle it. Instantly, all the fighters start drawing lines. Everyone hopes to be chosen. Once it's done, Sang-hoon warns that regardless of the result, he wants no complaints. The assistant coach follows the lines to find the winner, and Quizong is chosen. He celebrates wildly, then apologizes, saying he didn't expect to win. Siam Han congratulates our King of the Ring, who's a bit embarrassed. To be sure, he asks if he has the qualifications, like a sports certificate. He doesn't. And to be a second coach, he needs a government-issued license. So he asks if Weasley really doesn't have it, and our MC says no, coldly. Zhang Hun says because of that, he can't go. Our fighter is devastated while the others celebrate his loss. The game resumes, but in this level-up manhwa, our hero hasn't given up and interrupts. He vows to get the license before the SEC fight. Sen Hunt asks if he's serious. The fight is in June, there's no time for the certificate. Our MC reveals the level 2 sports coach test is in May, and the results come out fast. He's excited. He says there will be plenty of time before June. Tai interrupts, saying they can't just wait, not knowing if he'll pass. Our fighter has no comeback to Ta's irrefutable logic. Ta proposes that if he passes, he can go, but if he fails, he must buy the team an expensive dinner. Tae says it's a good deal, since Gu is making his own money now and can afford it. He considers the deal. Ta has a point and he just has to pass, but he feels something suspicious. He even sees Han whispering with Taeyang. Under pressure, the MC accepts, saying he can handle spending 300,000 won if he loses. Taeyong says it's a deal, telling Hui he can't back out. The team starts planning their free dinner, debating what they'll eat. Kai warns them not to get overconfident. He knows Quay will give his all. Then adds they still don't know who'll go when the kid fails. Wai Sung Lee stays up all night studying that day, and his parents notice. The next morning, Sangguk shows up after a long time. Songhan is surprised. It's been a while since Coach Sangguk visited. He asks about breakfast, but Sangguk ate. He notes Seonghan kept the place clean. Sangguk knows Seong is detail-oriented, which is why he left without worry. Suddenly, he sees Weezong locked in a room, and Seong says he's studying. The coach asks why, and Seong says to become a level 2 coach. After all, he was chosen for the SSC fight, but doesn't have the certificate. Sangguk tells him to do it later, but Seong says he's very stubborn. Sang already knows what the coach will say, but explains things just got out of hand. Coach Sangguk looks downcast. Things are never easy. Stangguk says he got a fight for Kwisam. Song says there's no reason to refuse, until he says it's a lightweight match, which shocks Hun. He argues we should be in a lower weight class since his opponents are bigger. If he's already facing bigger guys, he'll soon be outmatched. Seong says he has no experience cutting weight, and doesn't know if he can handle both. A classic level-up manhwa problem. Hearing this, Coach Sangguk decides to pitch an idea to the kid, and without even hesitating, he immediately accepts the offer. Sangguk asks if he really heard that correctly. Our guy understands he must drop to lightweight. He has to lose 10 kilos, a tough task while studying and training. Our hero wants to try, saying he'll study in his free time so it won't affect training. The coach warns it's not a casual thing, but he just says he'll make it happen. He asks for a chance, promising to stop if things go wrong, and Sangguk just realizes this kid is incredibly stubborn. But after thinking it over, he agrees to the plan, and Heesong thanks him. However, he adds a condition: train hard, sleep well, and stick to the diet. His diet. If he slips up, the deal's off. In other words, no all-nighters studying, then waking up early to train. Sanguk also says he'll personally coach him for this fight. He explains this opponent is a different breed, and they need a solid strategy. For that reason, Sanguk will act as second coach, even for this less significant match. He declares that this time, winning or losing doesn't matter. The way he fights will define his worth. He asks if the King of the Ring understands, and our MC replies yes, a bit nervously. He's reminded that the fight is the priority. A bad decision could waste all his effort, like a failed level-up Manhwa quest. Our hero promises his all, but Sanguk demands a more confident, assertive attitude from him. So, our protagonist shoots up, shouting he'll give everything he's got in training, and the fight. Hearing this fire, the coach is finally satisfied. Then, he hands over a sheet with info on the next opponent. He reads the name Mizushima. It's his first fight against a foreigner. Sanguk confirms the fighter is from Japan. We cut to Yuki Mizushima, a total nerd with huge glasses, from Team Motaro. He's talking with a Mr. Kinosia, and says there's nothing new. He mentions getting a few extra cents in change and feeling bad about it, but his friend tells him to relax. Mizushima overthinks it, wondering if the customer needed those coins and missed their train. Mr. Kinoshita tells him to be easier on himself so he can get along with people better. His boss says he worked well and puts him on the finance counter. Leaving work, Yuki Mizushima bumps into someone, quickly apologizing. He walks down the street looking completely bored until he arrives at his martial arts gym. As soon as he enters with that nerdy posture, everyone stops and stares at Yuki. He goes to a room and starts changing, revealing a ripped, muscular body. Putting on gear and Muay Thai gloves, we see he has a seriously well-built physique. Yuki Mizushima begins warming up, throwing punches at the gym's heavy bag. He lands insanely powerful punches on the bag, making everyone stop and stare again. Mizushima punches with a crazed expression until someone calls his name. His coach yells, saying he told him to come to his office as soon as possible. He asks why Mizushima is wailing on the bag like an idiot. Very annoyed, his coach doesn't want excuses and just tells him to look at something. It's about his next fight at the end of May against a fighter from X-Zone. Yuki Mizushima reads the paper and sees our King of the Ring, On Lee. A completely psychotic smile spreads across his face upon seeing his opponent. Later that night, back at the attack team gym, our MC is still studying but finally gives up. He just can't make sense of what he's reading. Eugene asks if he's trying to show off by studying out here. She says there's a study room, but he claims he just needed some air. As she heads out, she tells him to make sure he locks up, but he asks her to wait a second, questioning if she could explain something he read. He admits he has no idea what the explanation means for the question, but then she says she didn't get that part either and to just memorize everything. Right after, she starts explaining other concepts to him, and he just stares at her, completely love-struck. Looking closer, he sees her beauty and gets why they call her the goddess of MMA. He notices her big, crystal-clear eyes and that her skin is silky smooth, figuring it's because she's an athlete. He's lost in how good she smells until she snaps him out of it, asking what he's staring at. He blurts out a compliment on her nice scent, making her all flustered. Our hero gets tongue-tied and turns into a total goofball. A little shy herself, Yoo Jun-min admits it's just because she showered. Our protagonist quickly agrees, saying he totally figured as much. Yoo Jun-min asks if he needs anything else, and our hero says that was it. He feels tense, expecting her to be mad, but she was just sweet. He gulps in embarrassment before getting her attention again. Then, he shyly asks if she wants to walk home with him. An awkward silence immediately falls, and he thinks he's totally blown it. He tries to break the ice, pretending Han needed him for something. She then asks how long that task will take, hinting that she wants to walk with him. She asks if it's going to be long. Stunned by her positive reaction, our MC says it might take a bit. She just says she was curious and starts to head off. They say their goodbyes. Our MC is left totally embarrassed, wondering what just happened. Just then, his phone buzzes with messages from his coach. His coach sent a video of a fighter named Yuki Mizushima, telling him to check it out. It wasn't the text he wanted from Yoo Jun-min. Still, he opens the video and is immediately impressed by what he sees. He's wondering what this guy's deal is, because it was seriously wild. Afterwards, Yoo Jun went back to acting like normal, which helped him feel more at ease. While he's lost in thought, his coach asks why he looks so drained. He asks if the MC is overdoing it, but he says no, just waiting to train. Sanguk asks if he saw the video, and our MC says yeah. Sanguk asks for his opinion, and our MC just says, Mizushima is completely nuts. He explains that, in the video, Yuki's punches were crazy fast. Most guys wouldn't react before getting KO'd. But the real problem is, Yuki Mizushima seems to have major anger issues. He kept attacking guys even after they were down, unable to control his rage. The look on his face was absolutely terrifying. He wasn't the same guy from the weigh-in. Our MC says even Hyuk Choi looked like a kid compared to Yuk Mizushima. Sang-guk says that, out of 11 fights, he won 10, and holds the zone record with 6 straight knockout wins. As one of the best, the plan would be a head-on brawl, but Yuk still has the advantage. Sang-guk has a strategy from his studies, but our MC hasn't gotten to that part of the video yet. The coach asks if he saw one specific fight, and he says he did. Choi won by TKO. His coach says the key to victory is in Choi's match against John. After all, John Sakalia was clearly stronger and faster than Choi. Even so, Choi's punches were the ones that landed first. And even when they attacked simultaneously, John was the one who took more damage. When asked why, our MC has a theory, but seeing his student is clueless, Sang-guk explains, it's about precision and timing. Choi threw his punches a half beat earlier, and even though John was faster, Choi connected first. He gives him a tip, dodge and counter, to break the opponent's rhythm and mess with his head. He says to aim for vital spots, so punch power doesn't matter. He tells him to focus on this in his training, but he asks if it's even possible with only 3 months left. Sang-guk says it's not enough time, but he'll manage, like a level-up Manhwa hero. MC thinks he's being overestimated, but Sang-guk says he has talent, he overwhelms opponents, and he has killer instincts. He just needs to learn to unleash them. He then asks if anything was unclear, and our MC says no. When he says he's got it all, his coach tells him to get to it. We then see our protagonist training hard with battle ropes, screaming from the sheer effort. Afterwards, the coach has him work on conditioning before any technique. Taeyong mocks our MC, saying the kid's doing great, which just pisses him off. His coaches assign him some CrossFit-style conditioning drills. It starts with 15 pull-ups with an extra 10 kilos chained to his waist. Then it was 30 push-ups with 10 kilos on his back. Next, 40 sit-ups carrying the same weight. Finally, 50 air squats holding the 10 kilos. He also hammered out 70 resistance exercises with ropes and heavy-duty bands. The goal was to blast through 5 sets as fast as possible, with 2-minute rests in between. Even with those 2-minute breaks, the sets took longer and longer to complete. By the end, it took him 3 minutes to finish one, and when he finished the rope waves, he gasped with relief. Taeyong told him to shut his mouth and only breathe through his nose. Struggling for breath, our MC obeyed, and Taeyong congratulated him. He showed his trembling arm, but Taeyong told him to stop slacking if he was shaking that much. He asks how long he has to do this, and Taeyong says Sang-guk wants him training 3 times a week. Lee is shocked, and so is Taeyong, who thinks it should be way more often. Our MC mentioned that overtraining causes injuries, and Taeyong said, that's exactly why he's there. The king of the ring says he needs courage and determination now to achieve his goals. Sang-guk shows up asking if the boy is gassed already, and Taeyong says he drained him dry. Sang-guk then announces, it's finally time to begin his skill training. He says the first step will be the double-end bag that's hanging in the air. Following Sang-guk's orders, Jong Hwan demonstrates how to strike the bag. After his first punch, the ball swings back at him, and he dodges the opposite way. The coach explains this equipment is used for precision, speed, and footwork. Trying to copy what Jong Hwan did, the MC throws a basic, weak punch. As soon as he does, the bag starts whipping back at him. He fails, then claims the bag bounced wrong and didn't go where he wanted. Sang-guk tells him he's thinking of a stationary target and must master punching while the bag bounces side to side. Next, he introduces the tap ball, which improves reflexes and precision for sharp awareness and visual stimuli. Jong Hwan shows our MC how to use it, punching the ball rapidly. Then, he dodges by twisting his torso away from the direction the ball on his head is coming from. A small ball on a string from Jong Hwan's head swings toward Kwizone Lee. The MC dodges, saying the ball's swing is intense, and the coach says that's due to its size. Then our fighter places the band on his head and tries a simple punch. The ball rockets back at high speed, but he manages to dodge and hit it again. Once he starts to get the hang of striking the ball, our MC finds it really fun, which annoys the coach. Jong Hwan notes Hwai is very talented, since this ball training is for professionals. Suddenly, the coach tells our MC to use his elbow when he strikes. Caught off guard, our hero throws an elbow and pulls it off perfectly. The small training ball swings erratically, stopping right in front of Hwai's face. But at the last second, our MC manages to dodge, and the ball smacks Taeyong in the face. Laughing but clearly irritated, Taeyong asks if he did something to upset Hwai. Then he angrily starts chasing Kwizone Lee after taking a ball to the face. Sang-guk saw that the ball sped up and curved, but Hwai still predicted it would come at his face and dodged it. He realizes his potential was confirmed, planning to use this to enhance his skills. He wonders when this intense level-up manhwa session turned into a chaotic mess. After a long day, our hero gets off the bus, feeling completely wiped. He still can't get the hang of the double-end bag because he had to think consciously with every punch. He knows nobody would need to train if they could land a perfect hit on the first try without any effort. Suddenly, our hero runs smack into his mom on the street and is startled. He asks what she's doing out so late, and she says she was out with old friends. He smells something in her hair and realizes it's from a barbecue joint. Then his mom asks why he's out so late. He says he was training for a fight. His mom asks if he wasn't studying for a certificate, and he says he's doing both. She says he hardly rests when he has a fight and knows he's going to do what he wants. Hwai realizes she used to hate even hearing about MMA, and now she is starting to accept it. He tells her not to worry because he's going to win, but she says it doesn't matter as long as he isn't hurt. The MC smells fried fish, invites his mom for a bite, and she asks if he is on a diet. Our hero declares calorie cutting is on hold, and that he can eat, then bolts off excitedly. His mother just smiles, seeing he's still her kid at heart. Moments later, she smells the meat festival on her clothes and considers buying deodorizer. Time jumps to May, and we find Weezong in a testing room. The exam to become a level 2 sports coach is about to kick off. Later, he returns to the gym, unsure how he did, and decides to just wait for the results. Taeyong tells him to get training, and our MC wisely decides to warm up first. He starts his training with the aerial double-end bag, dodging it to hone his reflexes. Sanguk asks Taeyong how Weezong is doing, and he says the kid has improved on the bag, but he adds that Weezong is sensitive, with very low energy, and Sanguk says there's nothing they can do about that. He says weight cutting is always intense, with 2 phases that are especially grueling. The first phase is dehydration during the week before the weigh-in, and the other is during strength training. Once a fighter dehydrates, their body and muscles shrink and weaken. Fighters grind strength and endurance training, so when they rehydrate, they bounce back to their former state. During this time, they must cut their intake of creatine, a supplement that retains lots of water. It's far more exhausting because the diet and training are high intensity, and they can't even have protein powder. Taeyong says Weezong is working hard, and Sanguk says he's a fighter worth teaching. Taeyong says he's keeping his promise, improving each session, and performing far better than they expected. Sanguk notes he's still very young, and already told Seong to keep an eye on him so he doesn't lose control. Taeyong promises the coach and says it's time for the training circuit. Meanwhile, the coach gets a feeling that Taeyong might be the source of Weezong's stress. Then, the official MA match day gets closer. A fighter from the gym says his goodbyes to the others, and our MC feels absolutely awful. He mentions a rumor that salty food makes you more aggressive, but even on bland, healthy food, he is just brimming with rage. He says it's the same with training. A simple resistance circuit makes his arms shake like crazy. He's also urinating frequently, and it's clear as water. Each time, he feels like he's losing vital energy, like a real-life level-up Manhwa debuff. When he had a checkup at their team-sponsored clinic, he was on the verge of collapsing. Still feeling sick on the floor, Eugene Min appears and asks if he's not going home. Short-tempered from his condition, he snaps that she doesn't care about him and tells her to leave. Eugene Min is shocked by Weezong's rude response and stays quiet. He then recalls Eugene being harsh with him when she was preparing for a fight, and now he totally gets it. At that moment, she tosses him a sealed bag and tells Weezong to take it. Inside are some nuts and grains, and Min tells him to eat. It will take the edge off his hunger. Our hero notices the nuts were peeled and counted out by hand. He imagines her staying up late, peeling them just to give to him, but the girl snaps to give them back if he doesn't want them. Still, he eats them with a sour expression and says they taste terrible. Even so, he thanks her for the thought, but she insists they weren't for him. Convinced they were, our MC asks if they're just leftovers again. The girl gets flustered and tries to leave, but before she can escape, the MC calls out to her. He invites Eugene to eat with him after his match, and she accepts. Our MC is thrilled and laughs, but even laughing exhausts him, so he decides it's best to head home. Suddenly, his phone starts to ring, and he wonders who's calling so late. He sees it's his father calling and immediately answers. His dad asks if Weezong is busy right now, and he replies that he was just about to go home. He asks if something is wrong, and his father says something that shocks him to his core. It involves an emergency room. Our MC sprints into the hospital as fast as he can. When he arrives, he says he needs to see Ganggu Lee, and the receptionist asks if he is a relative. Weezong says that's his father and shouts, asking if he's okay, as the woman asks him to calm down. His father, head bandaged, quips that people might think he had passed away. In shock, he demands to know what happened and why his head is bandaged. His father says they're not alone in the hospital, and asks Weezong to speak quietly. Our MC couldn't care less about that, he's just worried about his father. He asks why his dad's dressed like that and why he skipped the suit this morning. Weezong fights back tears as his father suggests they talk somewhere more private. Sitting down in the lounge, his father explains work got tough, and he had to leave his old job. The debts forced him to start construction. His father says everything will be okay in a few years, but Weezong can't hide his concern seeing his father injured. It dawns on our MC, and he asks if his mom's working too. His dad says she is, at a restaurant. Upset, Weezong asks why they never told him anything. Weezong apologizes, but his father says there's no reason for him to be sorry. He admits he knew his father used to give gifts to his coaches. Weezong thought it was normal then, but now he regrets not quitting when he had the chance. Weezong's grandmother had insisted he not give up sports. His father wasn't even investing back then. He wanted to save money to invest in his son. He should have said the investment dividends were enough, and just supported his son. Crying, he says he was just a kid who gave up on everything. A complete failure. He cries harder, saying he's depending on both his parents again. But at that moment, his father's voice cuts in, stopping his son's breakdown. He says, they never saw Weezong as a burden, and different choices wouldn't have made things easier. He tells him not to kid himself. They made those choices willingly to support him. No matter the outcome, it wasn't Weezong's fault. He was too young at the time, and couldn't have done things differently. Then his father puts a hand on his shoulder affectionately and says, everyone in the world has their own battles. Life isn't just full of good things. He says money problems and injuries are part of life, and this will all pass. He says their family is healthy, and his son became independent. There's nothing to worry about. He tells him to hold his head high, because his parents are incredibly proud and happy with him. Weezong begins to cry uncontrollably at his father's kind words. He asks his dad how his head is, and his father jokes it took him long enough to ask. Weezong worries how his mom will react. His dad says she's on a work trip for 10 days. His father tells him to go since he has training tomorrow, and he deadpans, "Are you kicking me out?" Our hero sighs and says his dad really is stubborn. He asks where his mom works, but his father says it's better if he doesn't go. It'll make her uncomfortable. Weezong says he'll keep his distance. He just wants to see the place himself. Gang Lee tells him to go now, as the restaurant's about to close. A coworker at his mom's job asks if she'll be much longer cleaning. His mom apologizes to the woman, saying she'll be done in just a moment. Meanwhile, our hero watches the entire scene from outside through the glass. Weezong realizes that even when his mom's going through hard times, she tries to stay strong. This sight deeply saddens our protagonist, and he starts to cry. Walking away, he hopes his mom can endure, and clenches his fists. After that, he becomes determined to win his match no matter what. A day passes, and we see Weezong training with a fiery anger, a true level-up Manhwa scene. He's punching hard. He hits the pad with all his strength, and the holder struggles to keep it steady. Next, our fighter dodges with absolute ease, making incredibly quick movements. Then, he lands a massive punch, and the pad holder tells him to take it easy. Sanguk asks what's going on, and Tae says he's been acting like a zombie for days. His coach reminds Weezong his fight is in a few days, and tells him not to overdo it. The coach is worried about the boy. He can tell something happened. He sees it's not just his fighting spirit that changed, he's dodging with minimal movement. He's keeping his eyes on Taeljun's timing and movements, reading all of his strikes. Sanguk smiles and says his student has grown a lot. He's feeling proud of the prodigy fighter. Just then, the boy lands a powerful punch. Sanguk hopes he'll show his worth to the world. Finally, the day of the weigh-in arrives, and our hero hits the incredible 70-kilo mark again. Yuki Mizushima weighs in at 69 kilos. Then they have the stare down and take promo photos for the fight. Hui notes, Mizushima is smaller than he expected, but he's all muscle. Probably didn't cut much weight. He finds it odd. It's his first time facing someone smaller. Weirder still, his opponent starts whispering some crazy, inaudible smack talk. A confident Lee smirks, grabbing his opponent's attention. He asks if toying with enemies is fun, and calls him a psycho. In response, Mizushima whispers back that he's the best and the strongest. The ref separates them, announcing the end of the weigh-in. Our hero flashes a smile at Mizushima, who returns a cold, creepy stare. Sanguk asks why Hui is poking the bear, and he just says, "Yuke started it." He says Mizushima's muttering like a total nut job, and Sanguk realizes the rumors were true. Twee's sure Mizushima sees him as just a punching bag. Still, our MC actually digs it, since it means he's being underestimated. Finally, fight day arrives, and our hero warms up by hitting pads with Sanguk. Sanguk says he's looking sharp and tells our MC to take a breather. The prodigy fighter sits down, taking a moment to recover. Sanguk asks what's on his mind, noting he's unusually calm. Hwai jokes that the staring is making him shy, but Sanguk insists on an answer. Our MC says he's pondering what the coach said, how this fight proves his worth, like in a level-up manhwa. It made him wonder what his value as a fighter truly is. And Sanguk asks for his answer. Hwai says spoiling it now would be no fun, and tells him to wait for the fight. Laughing, Sanguk chuckles that we never changes, and that he'll wait for the fight. An announcement calls that the previous match is over, it's almost his time to enter. Sanguk says it's time to go win, then celebrate with chicken and drinks. An excited Huisong Lee totally agrees with his coach. It's announced the Zone main card is about to begin. They introduce Huisong in the blue corner, who confidently throws hearts to the crowd. The announcer says he has every right to be confident, showing great skill before. However, his opponent is no pushover, being a top lightweight. In the red corner, they introduce the human weapon, Mizushima, who makes his entrance wearing a menacing Oni mask. They say he can be over the top, but he's on a major winning streak. Sanguk tells Hwai to use his jabs for advantage and to stay cool under pressure. Then, fired up, he tells him to go all in and enter the ring. Mizushima's coach warns him to do well or lose offers, and the fighter agrees. The referee then orders both fighters into the octagon. Immediately, a clear size and weight difference is obvious between the two, making people wonder if they're in the same weight class. Mizushima has a 5-centimeter height advantage and is 6 kilos heavier. One commentator calls it a disadvantage, but the other notes Yuk has beaten stronger opponents. Still, the same is true for Hui, though Mizushima has the edge in experience. The commentators conclude this match is a clash of physicality versus experience. The ref asks if both are ready, then yells that the fight has begun, revealing Mizushima's psycho face. The commentators narrate, saying both fighters are now moving cautiously, wondering who will make the first move. Suddenly, Mizushima throws the first strike, which our hero blocks. He follows with a combo, unleashing a mean left hook. The Ring King easily ducks the devastating hook. But Mizushima follows up with an uppercut, and our hero dodges again, stepping back. Our hero uses slick footwork, while Mizushima stays aggressive, ready to throw more leather. WI stays evasive, commentators noting his effortless and graceful movement. Our protagonist repeats the dodges, his eyes locked on target. The second he sees an opening, he throws a punch to the face that's blocked. He immediately follows with a low kick, slamming Yuk Mizushima's calf. Mizushima eats the hit, lowering his stance as he moves in to punch our MC. Huisong Lee barely avoids it, just missing with a slick head slip. He ducks his head to the other side in a narrow escape, stepping out wide to create distance. The commentators are amazed that from the get-go, both fighters have put on a heck of a show. They're locked in a cold, calm stare-down. Suddenly, Yusuke Mizushima blitzes forward, aiming to land another heavy shot on Hui. He unleashes a rapid-fire combo, but our MC easily dodges with slight, precise steps backward. But that straight was just a setup. Mizushima closes the gap in a flash, pressing his attack. He keeps up the barrage, dead set on connecting with a hit. Our MC remains totally cool, dodging every one of his opponent's strikes. Whoa, another one almost clocks him, but he slips it at the last possible second. One of Mizushima's punches finally breaks through Hisong's guard and connects. The impact sends our protagonist flying backward, slamming him against the cage. This looks like Mizushima's moment, as he's blasting through Hai's defense. Our hero ducks low and shoves Mizushima back to stop the onslaught. He then breaks free and starts circling inside the cage. However, Mizushima ain't having it, and immediately closes the distance once more. At this point, he gets that crazy look, smiling, cause he just loves to dish out pain. He immediately unleashes another storm of punches, putting Lee in a real tight spot. Yuk Mizushima's coach is getting worried. He told him not to go berserk like this. The barrage continues, Mizushima's terrifying aggression on full display. Our protagonist stays cool, holding a high guard and blocking the shots. Sun Han looks nervous, since even while blocking, the situation is turning against Hai. But Sanguk says he's not just taking hits, telling them to watch closer. A rhythm emerges, showing Quizone's perfect timing as he catches one of Yuk's punches. It's like a level-up manhwa. He's timing every punch from his crazed opponent. The moment Mizushima throws the punch, our MC has already seen it coming. He dodges easily. He keeps that perfect count, as Mizushima winds up a heavy one. He rotates his entire body, putting all his weight into a massive straight punch. The clock hits that perfect beat, and, in that exact moment, Quizone Lee makes a gutsy move. He dodges into Mizushima's blind spot, and lands a clean hook. The instant that heavy punch connects, the Japanese fighter just freezes up, and goes totally limp. Our hero seizes the chance and smashes a heavy uppercut into his opponent's chin. He keeps the timing perfect, landing another shot to the face that drops Mizushima. Sanguk and his friends go wild, and the entire crowd is just completely stunned. The commentators are losing their minds over this turnaround, and Hai's masterful strikes that sent his opponent down. Sanguk gets it now. He waited, studied him, then countered once Mizushima got reckless. Now, our MC plays to the crowd, radiating pure confidence even though this fight ain't over. Smiling and getting real cocky, our MC points at his downed opponent and taunts him. In that instant, Yusuke Mizushima becomes absolutely furious, filled with blinding rage. Since neither fighter is moving, the ref tells them to get up. They face off again, and suddenly the whole vibe in there has changed. Mizushima's stance is completely different. That unhinged look is gone, and he makes the first move. He's keeping his distance, throwing out jabs and straights, aiming right for his enemy's head. Our MC is like, "What's this?" 'Cause he thought the guy preferred to fight up close. He quickly gets hyped and lands a slick uppercut, shattering Mizushima's guard. His enemy gets enraged and tries to counter with a massive straight punch. Quizone Lee sees him closing in and keeps dodging, predicting his moves. He slips his arm under Mizushima's and beautifully lands another uppercut. Even after eating several shots to the face, Yusuke Mizushima tries to fire back. But nope, he just takes a double hook and gets completely shut down. And then the Japanese fighter hits the mat for the second time. As he tries to get up, a fast, unpredictable strike from Hui comes flying at him. Before he can even stand, he eats a knee strike that stops his own kick. He loses his balance and stumbles backward, slamming his back into the cage, clearly in a world of hurt. Unable to react, he takes another knee, this one to the gut. Our MC leaps in, throwing a punch at the same time, giving Mizushima zero room to breathe. At that point, his guard crumbles, and the strikes just pour in. A brutal combination of head kicks connects with Yusuke, who can barely lift his guard in time. Seeing the attacks slip through, Mizushima tries to escape sideways, but he freezes dead still when he sees both his opponent's arms raised high. He gestures with his hands up, as if inviting more, and Yusuke is terrified. Yusuke Mizushima raises his guard, retreating in a timid, defensive posture. Suddenly, our MC throws a straight out of nowhere, and Mizushima manages to dodge sideways. Mizushima counters by jumping in and landing a left hook. Our MC leans back and dodges it effortlessly. But Mizushima had already predicted the dodge, which is why he throws an even stronger punch. He uses all his strength and shifts his body, claiming this is the real one. Huisong Lee is startled by his opponent's hand so close to his face, but at the last second, he jerks his head aside and dodges. Mizushima gets irritated as Huisong easily evades all his sudden attacks. His opponent's face shows pure anger and disgust. Meanwhile, our protagonist mocks him, flashing a peace sign with his hand. Yusuke Mizushima fills with rage at his failed punches. At that moment, the Japanese fighter screams in hatred and throws another punch. Missing again, he throws a furious flurry of strikes, and Huisong dodges every one. As he evades a hook, Yusuke wonders why he cannot land a single hit. Lee avoids and escapes all of Yusuke Mizushima's attacks, as if he's dancing. Suddenly, our MC throws a perfect kick right to Mizushima's flank, landing it hard. Yusuke Mizushima tightens his guard for another body kick, but our hero fakes it and starts some dance-like footwork. His coaches and teammates laugh, telling him to stop playing around. Our hero keeps getting into his opponent's head with mocking gestures. In response, the Japanese fighter grows even angrier and curses our protagonist. Yusuke Mizushima's coach yells at him that it's a trap. But blinded by rage, Mizushima throws a very strong punch, which he dodges. After ducking, our hero breaks through his opponent's guard and lands a powerful punch to his face. Mizushima fell for Huisong's taunt and paid the price with a heavy blow. Yusuke hits the mat for the third time, and the ring camera closes in again. Mizushima is in severe pain, his face covered in tomato sauce. Our hero subdues Yusuke, grabs a leg, and everyone knows the end is near. An elbow cuts through Mizushima's guard, hitting him with great force. The commentators point out the ketchup splattered all over the octagon. Our MC knows this is frustrating for Mizushima, but believes he deserves this beating. He makes him feel what it's like to be unable to even catch your breath, just like Yusuke did to others. He believes Yusuke has no right to self-pity, and, landing another punch, he says this is karma. Even before the punch lands, Mizushima looks nearly unconscious. Then the ref tells Huisong Lee to stop, and our MC punches the mat next to his opponent's face. The referee steps in and ends the match right then and there. They comment that since Lee's debut, all three of his fights have ended in first-round victories. It's like a level-up Manhwa. The newcomer is shaking up the MMA world. He throws his mouthguard to the crowd, and people say, every lightweight fighter will have their eyes on him. The arena erupts in cheers, chanting Huisong Lee's name. Everyone raises their hands, chanting the name of our hero. The commentators announce the king of the octagon defeated Mizushima in just 3 minutes of the first round. When this is announced, the protagonist yells in pure joy. After the match, they comment on how fast the news about the fight is spreading. Online reactions are positive, praising his style and showmanship. Sanguk thinks there was no other way to view that fight, and Numas's son has changed from being so stoic. However, he finds his own laughter and hug toward Huisong embarrassing because he was never like that before. Suddenly, Sanguk is startled by Huisong Li's shout and asks what happened. Our protagonist says the results from his coaching license test just came out. Proudly, the fighter shows the results to his coach and says he passed the test. Excited, he says he's going to get his passport now and asks about the weather in the US. Then he calls his mom, asks if she saw the fight, says it was an easy win, and tells her he's going to travel. His teammates are floored, totally convinced he'd bomb the test. But, plot twist, he still has to pass the oral and practical exams to get certified. In short, Wizomi is stuck here until he aces the rest of his exams. The coaches are already feeling the pain since he won't shut up about America to his mom. Our guy is totally obsessed with burgers, and the US in general. People at the gym are asking what's up with him, betting this phase lasts a week, tops. Just then, Sun Hoon Park shows up, and our MC asks what he needs. Park apologizes, and our hero admits he's been a fool for the past 4 months. They're cool now. Han says he's swamped, and asks if he can visit Eugene. Seong says she called because Eugene's sick and lives alone, with nobody to check on her. When the other fighters hear this, they all volunteer to visit the sick Eugene. Seong just calls the others a bunch of filthy animals, so Weizong is the last man standing for the job. Since he's free post-fight, he's tasked with bringing food, medicine, and cleaning her place. The MC cheekily asks if he can buy something for himself, and Seong says yes, just don't lose the receipt. Our hero bolts, asking for Eugene Min's address. In front of Eugene's building, the MC is stunned she owns her own place at 23. Weizong Li walks past reception with a shopping bag, saying he's her friend. Entering the building, he figures this must be it. He rings the doorbell, and a haggard-looking Eugene Min answers. She croaks, "Who is it?" And our MC is so startled he says, "She looks so bad he'll have nightmares." The girl is completely shocked to see Weizong there. She slams the door right in his face and tells him to wait. The fighter yells, "What gives?" saying he didn't come all this way to get a door to the face. Eugene asks why he's there, and he explains Seong sent him. The girl wishes someone had warned her first, thinking Seong would have called. He gets her panic and asks her to open up, but she tells him to hold on a sec. Hearing a huge racket from inside the apartment, he mutters that she sounds pretty lively for someone who's supposedly sick. After a frantic moment, she finally lets Weizong in, and he spots a worn blanket on the table. Our hero says he brought her porridge, but she replies that she's not hungry. Unfazed, he tells her to eat, and not just lie there moping. He says that'll only make it worse, and tells her to stop being stubborn. She finally caves, saying there's a small table in the kitchen for the porridge. The two sit down to eat, and Eugene notes he eats like a wild animal. Meanwhile, she eats slowly, with a shy look on her face. He never imagined that when he invited Eugene for a meal, it'd be at her place. He asks how long she's been sick. Min says 3 days, and the other 2 were worse. He then asks if she's feeling better, and the girl says she's a little better. Our MC bluntly asks if she's showered because her hair is a total mess. She insists she did, and tells him to smell her hair, but he recoils and refuses. The girl laughs a little, admitting it's actually nice to have company. However, she follows up by saying, it'd be better if it were literally anyone else. She says she watched his fight, and he jokes that no illness could stop her. Then Eugene Min admits that Weizong Li fought incredibly well in that bout. She confesses she was surprised because she knew he was good, but yesterday he was on another level, like a real level-up manhwa hero. Our protagonist thanks her for the compliments, saying he's blushing. Then the girl says it wasn't a compliment since she would never praise Weizong Li. Out of nowhere, she blurts out that she actually, truly hates our protagonist. Our MC is shocked, then points out that she never really tried to hide that. But she says that now she's getting to know him a little better. She sees he's not that bad. At first, she thought he was selfish and arrogant, cashing in on an opportunity anyone would kill for. However, the girl admits she was completely wrong about Weizong Li. She says he has real skills, is super dedicated, and he's not arrogant, just confident. She adds that when he acts cocky, it still annoys her, and he just tells her to keep the compliments coming. Eugene apologizes for judging him without knowing him, but he says she doesn't need to. Min says she's not just saying it for him, but also to feel better about herself. And then, suddenly, she lets out a sigh, her head slumping onto the bed, prompting Huai to ask if she's okay. He gently places a hand on her forehead, and the girl weakly asks what he's doing. WI gives her a light tap on the forehead, telling her to quit acting so tough. Our MC feels her fever has gotten worse. She's really sick, and he knows she's been pushing herself too hard. You see, MMA fighters are vulnerable to illness from weight cutting and intense training, which just tanks their immunity. We knew Eugene had 2 fights in 10 months, on top of photo shoots and events. So, our hero helps the girl get up, guiding her to lie down in her bed. He hands her medicine, tells Eugene to get some sleep, and says they'll talk more afterward. Our MC waits by her side until she's covered up and starts to drift off. Seeing she's finally asleep, Hwai decides to clean the apartment before he leaves. Murmuring in her sleep, the girl calls out Hwai's name and thanks him for everything, saying she doesn't hate him anymore. She adds he's still an idiot, but our hero knows that's just part of Eugene's classic charm. Some time passes, and Hui finishes conquering the mountain of his friend's dishes. Then, he comes across a closed door and can't help but wonder what's behind it. The moment he opens it, he witnesses a clothing apocalypse scattered everywhere, a huge mess. He sees tons of dirty laundry and honestly can't tell if a single thing is clean. So, he makes the heroic decision to wash everything. A while later, Hui finally leaves Eugene's apartment. Arriving at the gym, a fighter tells him he was just about to call. He tells him to head to the office because Hui has some visitors. The CEO of Zone says he was in the neighborhood and just decided to visit their gym. He asks why Hwai looks so tense and if something is wrong. Hwai says no, he just wants to know what this surprise visit is about. He came to talk about the contract and wanted to keep it between him and the coach, but the coach insisted Hwai join. Our MC claims he doesn't get contracts, asking if something special is up. The CEO says it's about renewing Hwai's contract, but there are a few snags. Annoyed, the old man says they got a call from SFC, and they want Lee. The old man asks if Hwai isn't surprised by this development, and our MC admits that he is, in fact, completely stunned. The CEO is irritated because no one ever mentioned Hwai, and now suddenly, like a character in a level-up manhwa, SFC wants him. Hwai asks why they called the CEO first, and the old man says it's a courtesy, for now. The old man doesn't want him to go, saying it's too early, and it's tough to survive at that level. He says Hwai's at the top here, and thinks it's better to build a career first. He's not going to stop Hwai if he insists, but he'd prefer he stay, mainly because he makes him a lot of money. The CEO insists he isn't baiting him. There are benefits at X Zone, and he can still review the SFC offer. His base salary will be 8 million won with a 100% win bonus. That's what he and Coach Sanguk were discussing, but the final decision is his. Hwai would rather leave it to Sanguk, since he's itching to sign the contract right this second. Sanguk says they should discuss more than just the money. After all, you have to consider the reputation of SFC and what it represents. They're the biggest stage in the world and offer that to any fighter who wants to join. The CEO just says reputation doesn't matter anymore. The way they used to treat fighters is a thing of the past. Sanguk retorts that's their perspective, but it's different for young, aspiring fighters. The old man grumbles that young people are different these days and tells the coach to just state his terms. Sanguk asks for 10 million won up front and another 10 per win, then asks what they think. Our MC recalls hearing he could get 20 million won for national championship events. The old man asks if that's it, saying he shouldn't be afraid to push the limits. Citing their good relationship, the old man offers a starting salary of 12 million for Hwai. The CEO offers a 12 million won base salary and a 12 million won bonus per victory. Both our hero and his coach are floored by the 12 million offer. On top of that, with sponsors, the money could hit 30 million per year. However, they aren't giving this money away for free. He has to win his next fight. Surprised, our MC asks what happens if he loses that fight. If that occurs, they'll renegotiate the terms, dropping his salary and bonus to 10 million. Both the fighter and coach Sanguk think that's a pretty fair deal. Still, Sanguk asks if the CEO is hiding anything. Not that he doubts him, but the offer feels a little odd. The old man can't give details yet. They're on a project and want them to be part of it. When Juan asks what it is, the CEO says if it works, the MMA market will grow significantly. That's all he can share, but he assures them they have nothing to lose by making this deal. The CEO then says they have an agreement, thanking them and calling the visit worthwhile. He says he'll send a temporary contract, and after the next match, they'll sign the official one. He apologizes for just showing up, and says goodbye, as they thank him for visiting. Before leaving, he advises Quizong to treat his coach well, because guys like him are rare. Smiling, the King of the Ring says he's always very grateful to his coach. The CEO is pleased to hear it, and says he's expecting great things from Quizong Lee, Excited, our MC wonders if they just hit the jackpot. He asks if something's bothering the coach, who says he feels a catch. CEO Yang isn't the type to lose, and he knows this won't be a failure. He just doesn't know what the CEO has planned for Hui, and the MC asks if he's a shady person. After his coach says no, he's never backstabbed anyone, the MC feels reassured. He asks if he trusts the CEO, and the kid says he trusts Juan, who's brought him this far. His coach warns him not to trust people so easily, or he'll get played one day. Our MC asks if he has anything valuable to take, and the coach says maybe. He says it's a risk worth taking. After all, he's only at the top because of his coach, and it's the very least he can do for him. Juan says the kid knows just what to say, and tells him to stop grinning because he's starting to like him. Then he says to keep it quiet until it's official, no need to make waves. After that, he asks about Yujun, and he says she'll be fine. He left food and medicine. Sagmek says he did well, and tells him to go home and get some rest. Afterward, the coach is reading his book, when a message interrupts him. The message is from our protagonist saying he loves his coach, Juan. He immediately starts laughing, happy to get a text like that from his annoying student. Our MC's heart is racing. With one more win, his salary will jump to 12 million won. And if he gets sponsored and earns bonuses with just 2 fights, that money could reach 80 million won per year. Because everything is going so well, he feels anxious it might all go wrong. But the best news is, he's caught the SFC's attention, like a real-life level-up Manhwa. Regardless of what's ahead, he could become the second fighter from his team to join the SFC after Chong. He feels like he's been handed a golden ticket to the place every fighter dreams of. All of this within a year, and he finally feels like he's pulling his weight. He feels that if he keeps this up, he'll at least be able to repay some of what he owes his parents. Suddenly, our protagonist gets a call from his friend, Yujun Min. He asks what's wrong with her. She should be resting. The girl screams in panic, asking if he went inside of her closet. She says everything was organized and demands to know if he opened it. Our hero replies he washed and organized things, and she gets mad because she didn't ask him to. He says if this is about her unmentionables, he only washed them. He didn't sniff anything. He argues he didn't know it was off limits since she had nothing to wear, and Min says that was none of his business. Even so, it's no use. And Yujun Min tells him he's brainless and shouldn't have gone in there. Our MC says whatever, tells her to get some rest, but she just keeps chewing him out. He actually feels relieved seeing Min so furious, and thinks maybe he should lie down for a bit. June is approaching fast, and a pizza delivery arrives at his house. He tells his friends that the chicken and pizza are here. He sets the food on the table for him and his buddies to eat. They all watch a fight on TV, and our MC says he's more nervous than for his own fights. His friends agree, all watching an SFC match. In the blue corner, fighter Ricardo D. Silva, with 12 fights and 0 losses. In the red corner, the welterweight fighter from South Korea, Chong Kang. The referee asks if both fighters are ready as they stare each other down in a fighting stance. Finally, the ref tells them to begin, and both charge at one another instantly. Fighter Chong Kang lands a massive hook on Ricardo Silva. He dominates early, taking him straight to the ground while his friends cheer. But as the fight continues, Ricardo Silva clips Chang with a punch. He gets hammered at the start of round 2, like he blew his whole gas tank in round 1. Time ticks by, and at the end of round 3, both men are gassed. But Ricardo Silva, on sheer will, charges Chang in a desperate move. He snatches his opponent's torso and legs. Chang looks like he's about to buckle and nearly hits the canvas. His friends watching on TV are on the edge of their seats. The second Chang hits the ground, he counters, slapping on a chokehold and locking his legs. The choke sinks in, and Ricardo Silva looks like he's about to take a nap. Just then, his opponent taps 3 times, signaling submission, losing the match to Chang. The end of the fight is called, and Chong Kang starts roaring, celebrating his victory. His friends back in Korea are going wild. Thrilled by his win, our MC sees this is a different league. These are national champions, but the SFC has no rankings yet. This means there are dozens of killers even above these 2 guys. After seeing that, he knows renewing his X1 contract was the right call. He still has a long road before a stage like the SSC, just like in a level-up Manhwa. Our MC is in no rush. He wants to conquer X1 first. The phone rings over his friends shouting, and he answers it. It's Diksong, demanding to know why Hui, not a coach, is on this crucial level-up Manhwa-style call. He explains they all watched Chang's debut together, and Diksong asks him how the big fight went. He says Chang won by chokehold in the 3rd round. Diksong is surprised, since winning in the SFC is tough, but Hui says he's not exactly a champion. He barely scraped by in that fight, and basically won on a prayer. Diksong gets to the point, as he had something to discuss with our protagonist. He says he is considering putting the fighter in a main event in September. Some time passes, and Chang starts bragging to his friends about the fight. Sehan shows up right then and asks why Hui looks so bummed out if he just got a great offer. Hui asks how the United States was, and Sehan says it was no vacation. He was swamped over there. He then asks what the American girls were like, and Chang chimes in that they were super hot. He tells his student to cut the nonsense and asks about the offer. Hui says it's in September. He hasn't confirmed, but Sehan asks about the opponent, and the MC says he's worried. He says they gave him 2 options and are pushing for him to fight Eduardo Pereira, which leaves Sehan speechless. The MC thinks it's nuts. They want him against the #1 ranked fighter. He says the other option is Jai Kim, who is ranked 3rd. Sehan's face spells trouble. Neither one will be easy. He says calling them difficult is a massive understatement. Pereira is infamous for his sheer brutality. He mentions that Pereira leaves opponents crippled with his nasty elbow strikes and arm locks. The lucky ones end up in rehab. Many never fight again. He's also known for using steroids and diuretics, and got busted for all of it. Because of this, he was kicked out of 2 associations and couldn't get contracts renewed. One mistake, and Hui's career as a fighter could be completely over after this match. He says not to sweat Jai as much, but it won't be a cakewalk. He's known as the lightweight gatekeeper. He's a reaper for low-level fighters and holds the record for squashing rising champions. Based on Sehan's intel, Hui thinks choosing Jai is smarter, though it's still a huge task, since he'll be the main event. He says 80% of Jai's victories are by decision, not by knockout. Main events are 5 rounds, and Jai has legendary stamina. It'll be tough since Hui has never fought more than 2 rounds. He must knock Jai out within 2 rounds, but in 20 fights, Jai has never been stopped by KO or submission. Stylistically, Pereira might actually be a better matchup than Jai. Hui asks what he should do, and Sehan admits he doesn't know. It's best they do their homework and map out a strategy. Sehan tells him to watch tapes of both fighters to help decide. They finish their drinks, and Hui goes home but can't sleep, even after watching 2 hours of fight videos of both guys. He's totally stuck. If he knew it'd lead to this, he never would have asked Song. Now, he has to pick one. Suddenly, his phone buzzes, and he's like, "Who's hitting me up now?" It's a text from his coach, asking if he's asleep. Our MC types back, he's up watching clips, and asks what's up. His coach says he'll just call, and Wiesen snags the phone on the first ring. Juan says Seong mentioned he was struggling to pick a fighter. He tells him to quit overthinking it, and just make a gutsy choice. But Hoi grumbles that it's reckless. Sanguk argues that guys with his talent have sharp instincts, and no fight is a cakewalk anyway. Juan asks if Gui doubts him, if he thinks he'd let him fail. The MC says he trusts him. Our guy decides to go with his gut, and Juan warns him not to rush. After the call, the MC mulls over his coach's words. Endlessly weighing pros and cons is useless. Man, that's his coach for you. He feels everything's clearer now. A real level-up Manhwa moment. Quizen Lee starts laughing, saying his coach has been the man from day one. Then a ball rolls near someone, and a kid runs to get it. As the boy bends down for the ball, he sees Pereira looking absolutely terrifying. However, the kid shouts, "Dad," and they both break into huge smiles. The son sees his father's home early, and Pereira says he couldn't wait to see him. He says he was playing soccer and is getting really good. He even scored a goal. Pereira says he wishes he'd been there to see it. Pereira's bummed he missed it, but his son promises to score another one for him. Juan's friends yell for him to bring the ball back to play. His dad tells him he'll wait right there until he's done playing. The other kids think his father looks super intimidating, but he insists his dad's not scary at all. A proud look crosses Pereira's face. Then, a man walks up to talk to Pereira, remarking that kids grow up so fast. Casa asks if he can please keep his phone on. Pereira recognizes him, saying it's been a long time. The fighter asks how Casa tracked him down, and the man says he asked his ex. He gets mad, asking why he'd talk to her, and Costa retorts he wouldn't have to if his phone was on. Pereira says he only sees his son once a month, but Costa insists he's only here because it's urgent. He tells the fighter he's got an offer from Octagon. The fight's in September in Seoul, South Korea, and the opponent specifically requested him. They made a solid offer. His manager needs an answer soon, but Pereira says he's not fighting. He says he's won 9 matches in Xone without a title shot. He's not about to come crawling back now. The older man tells him to quit crossing the line, saying that's why people can't stand him. Eduardo Pereira argues he does whatever it takes to win. He says he's already fighting for a living to support himself, glancing over at his son. He asks if Casa knows how much a kid costs. The older man says that's exactly why Pereira needs to behave. He tells him, to win titles, he needs to show some sportsmanship towards his opponents. Pereira just scoffs, calling them losers, tired of losing, and says he has other reasons to refuse. He rejects the offer, but the advisor flips the script by mentioning a title shot. The older man says that if Eduardo wins this next fight, he'll get a shot at the championship belt. Instantly, Pereira snatches the paper, saying this is the level-up Manhwa moment he's been waiting for. He then calls his son, Juan, over for a chat. He tells the older man he's hitting the corner cafe to talk with Juan and will be right back. His colleague is annoyed that Eduardo just crumpled the contract offer. Pereira tells his son he might become a champion soon, and the boy is ecstatic. Eduardo says he'll be the strongest man alive, making Juan the son of the strongest. The two of them just laugh and celebrate the big news. Meanwhile, Hee-sung Lee is screaming for mercy during his training session. His coach tells him not to quit just because his wrist is grabbed, but Hee thinks it's pointless to endure this. The coach asks if he'll act like that in a real fight, like some newbie in a level-up manhwa. The blonde coach wonders what to do with this lazy kid, so he tries to tempt the MC with an offer. He proposes a one-time bet. If Hui manages to pin him just once, he'll buy his lunch for a whole month. The MC's eyes light up, and the coach confirms he'll buy anything he wants for lunch, every single day. Instantly, our MC is on his feet, accepting the challenge, while the coach reminds him it's only if he wins. Right away, Wiz Lee snaps into a fighting stance, ready to go. His coach, pleased by this fighting spirit, gets into position too. The coach charges at the MC, trying to grab his waist. The MC is shocked by the rush, then suddenly sees the man's hands going for his neck. He realizes it was a feint. The coach was actually going for an overhook to pin him. In response, the king of the ring decides to do the same. He grabs the coach's bicep. Right after, he sweeps a foot to break the coach's balance. As the coach stumbles, the MC seizes the advantage and grabs his thigh. Taking advantage of his hold on the thigh and torso, he throws the coach over and slams him to the ground, bringing him down hard. The coach hits the mat on his back and realizes Hui's takedown technique is solid. The MC pins his arm and now needs to grab the waist and get his arm under the coach's to complete the hold. His coach starts smiling, knowing that's exactly what Hui is thinking, and he has a surprise planned. He locks his leg around Hui's back, which he forgot to immobilize. Then he spins his body backward in a full rotation, pulling Hui's arm with him. He throws his other leg over the MC's shoulder, locking him completely in a leg submission hold. Hui is shocked, realizing he was caught in an instant, and needs to roll out before it's too late. Suddenly, he feels immense pressure and finds himself completely immobilized, both his arms and legs. His coach starts smiling and says he was faster than our protagonist. Our hero admits he's great and asks him to let go so they can go again. His coach says he needs to light a fire under him, so he understands real discomfort. Hui begins to panic and begs the man not to, but the coach doesn't listen to our MC. Next, we see him screaming in pain with the MC lying on the ground. The man says he fought well and might win that free lunch next time. Some time passes, and while the king of the ring recovers, Seong-han says he did well. Seong-han says he watched the whole match and that Wiz Lee is pretty good at grappling. He says Hui is at the level of Suyuk Lee, a brown belt, and the MC actually feels good hearing that. He finds it frustrating not being able to use his techniques, and Seong knows beginners aren't supposed to attempt takedowns. Even so, Hui is scoring takedowns and grapples without falling to the ground. He notes that Su and Hui have similar builds, and if Su couldn't take the MC down, no fighter at this weight class will. Seong-han thinks that's the advantage of the boy having practiced Sirium, a real game-changer in this level-up manhwa. Most fighters don't know Sirium, in Korea or outside it, which makes him a tough opponent since they can't train for it. Sirium becomes the king of the ring's exclusive skill. What he lacks is more experience, and cheap tricks won't work on him. This training session had good results. He says X1 wants a random drug test, and will collect his urine and hair tomorrow. Hui asks if they'll do the same with Pereira, and is sure Pereira would be caught. Seong thinks they should test everyone regularly, and Hui becomes concerned about his supplements. Seong says none of that is illegal, unless the kid's been secretly eating something he shouldn't. They joke about whether the fried chicken he eats could show up in the results. After they stop laughing, Seong-han stares at our protagonist. He asks if he's been eating fried chicken, then repeats the question with a threatening tone. To dodge Seong's question, our MC calls Su Yuk for another round of training. Su asks about the chicken and whether Hui ate it with soy sauce, but Hui says it was with chili. Seong-han approaches with a menacing tone when he realizes why Hui ate spicy fried chicken. He grabs Hui's shoulders and lectures him for eating junk food so close to the fight. Our MC tries to escape the situation, saying he only took a few bites of the chicken. Seong gets really angry and says the chicken had chili and way too much fat. He still has weight to lose. Running from him, the MC says he only took 3 bites and that it couldn't have made him gain weight. Even so, the man keeps chasing after him. Absolutely fuming at Huizong's boneheaded move, Suyak and Tai think everyone's acting bizarre around Hui Li, and it's all on him. Our MC collapses, and Xiang orders a full investigation of his diet for an immediate overhaul. After that whole mess, our hero is pounding the pavement, breathing in a steady 3 count. Sanghan pedals a bike right behind him, barking at him to keep the pace. Then he orders Huizong to start shadowboxing while running. He yells at him to keep moving non-stop, and our MC obeys every single command. After the brutal workout, the king of the ring finally gets a heavenly, relieving shower. Shortly after, he's allowed to eat but looks absolutely disgusted by the dish. Xian asks if he's lost his appetite, and he replies that the food looks just times 2 times good. He notes it's been 2 weeks, which is enough to grind anyone down. Knowing Pereira has a better build, they bulked him up to 80 kilograms for a fighting chance. They kept his water levels dangerously low to cut weight and slashed his sodium intake, since it holds water. People get aggressive under pressure. It's inevitable when the stress drags on. Huizong hasn't snapped yet. He's just emotional. And you'd honestly pity him if he did. But just as he's thinking that, Guai orders Kong to fetch him water, and poof, all pity is gone. Kong brings the water and starts talking to someone, saying that Hui's already trained and is on a break. Song seems to be on the phone with a superior, promising they'll meet soon, and that Hui will be ready. Once he confirms it was the CEO, our MC asks why he's calling so early. Han explains Pereira just landed in Korea, and they need Hui ready for the press conference. Then we flash back to 1 week before the fight. At the press conference, our protagonist and his colleague arrived right on time. No delays. Huizong grumbles about the suit, saying it's incredibly uncomfortable. His colleague, Kong, deadpans, suits are never comfortable. As soon as the two arrive, the CEO of Xone announces that the fighter has entered the room. The entire press goes nuts, cameras flashing like crazy as they snap photos of our hero. Our MC greets the old man, who asks if training is going well, and Hui confirms it is. This is going to be his very first press conference, and he says he's ready, planning to just be himself. He asks if there's anything off limits. The old man tells him not to worry, just don't swear. Huizong promises to watch his mouth. After that, the Xone CEO shows the MC his seat, and the time for the press conference draws near. Hui notices Pereira still hasn't shown up, even though the other fighters are there. Someone whispers in the CEO's ear, and he quickly steps up to the microphone. He apologizes and asks for everyone's patience, saying Pereira will be late due to traffic. In the meantime, they'll start with interviews for the co-main event fighters. He figures it's easy to get lost in a new country and that there's nothing to be done. After another 20 minutes pass, the Xone CEO is practically vibrating with rage. The old man starts trembling with anger, and our MC now thinks Pereira has zero manners. Jihoon Park and Min Hwan's interview wraps up, and Eduardo Pereira is still a no-show. So, Huizong Li's interview begins, and he states he'll be in Xone's main event. The press is taken aback by his confidence, and a hand shoots up for a question. They bring up rumors that he's a rookie who's never fought in another organization. Hui states he entered MMA just 1 year ago, and his fight with Subium was both his debut and his very first match. He debuted with 0 league experience, explaining he was a sub for Subium's injured opponent. The reporter is stunned. It sounds like a level-up Manhwa plot. Hui had trained for only 3 weeks before his debut, with no prior MMA knowledge. Another reporter stands, introducing himself as Suno Kang from M Sports. He notes Hui's first-round winning streak and asks about his training regimen. Hui says that as soon as he learned about his opponent, he began training and strategizing with his entire team. The journalist asks, "Is that all?" And Huizong asks if he's supposed to say more. Immediately, several other journalists start clamoring to ask our protagonist questions. The CEO wonders if this is really his first press conference. He's way too confident. He thinks the way his words capture everyone's attention makes it seem like he was born for this. The old man finds him to be a very interesting guy. He then informs the reporters that they'll be taking a short break from the interviews. Finally, the fighter Eduardo Pereira makes his grand entrance. Right away, he starts whining about being late and blames the traffic. Judging by his getup, our MC thinks he's acting way too important for this. Speaking Portuguese, Pereira asks if the kid is Huizong Li. He offers a handshake, and Pereira's translator says he wishes him a good fight. Though our MC can already tell he's arrogant, he shakes it and offers a respectful greeting. In his own tongue, Pereira calls Huizong weak and unworthy. Visibly embarrassed, the translator tells our MC that Eduardo hopes he fights his best. Arrogantly, the fighter sits and snatches the microphone, claiming he'll answer everything honestly. Before a journalist finishes a question, Eduardo gets annoyed. He angrily asks if questions about his opponent are their best shot. He asks if they really want to know about the offer and why he even took this fight. He knows they're curious, admitting he was reluctant until CEO Yang made an offer he couldn't refuse. The deal is, if he wins, he'll get a title shot, shocking the journalists. He tells them to print that this fight is a step towards him holding a belt within a year. CEO Yang then declares the interview time is over, ending the session. But our MC raises a hand, asking if this conference is actually for the upcoming fight. He calls his opponent arrogant for needing to beat him just to get a title shot. A reporter asks if he's confident he can beat Pereira, and Weizong says, absolutely. He adds, Pereira won't get near the belt because he's way too full of himself. Eduardo sighs, asking how Weizong Li plans to beat him. Our hero says he'll find out, adding he's watched Pereira fight, and he looks sloppy. Pereira claims Weizong wants attention, but big talk is pointless. Weizong says he's just stating facts, like his baldness and reliance on juice. Pereira gets furious, warning him he's crossing a line he can't uncross. Our MC just tells him not to be shy about it. Everyone knows he's juicing. Yang tells him to stop, so Weizong apologizes, then asks Pereira to cover his forehead. He says he can't hold back his laughter, looking at that shiny dome again. Suddenly, his opponent hurls a water bottle at him. It smacks the table as he curses out our protagonist in pure rage. He leaps from his chair, screaming he'll rip Weizong Li's tongue out. Unfazed, our hero notes that while his hairline's running away, at least his lungs are healthy. Even more enraged, Eduardo Pereira demands to know what he just said. Weizong Li says this raging dog act means the press conference is over. He says he always fights as the underdog, and yet, no one lasts more than a single round with him, a true level-up Manhwa. He notes the only difference with Pereira is his love for juice. Our MC keeps roasting his opponent's bald head in front of everyone. Soon, the press conference is officially ended, with thanks to all for coming. Later, our MC asks the CEO if he totally blew it at the conference. Yang replies that, if he was actually worried about that, he should have mentioned it earlier. He knows reporters are sharp, those drug comments might bite him back. He adds that the moment Eduardo mentioned the title, the whole schedule went out the window. Our MC tells Yang not to sweat it. There's no way he's letting that guy near the title. And that's where the video ends for now. If you don't want to miss the next part, smash that notification bell, and we'll see you next time on Tobs Music.